The opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Eastlink Community TV, its sponsors, or partners.
Gwe, Jalasi, Ndeloisi Julie. Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Pellissier-Lush. I am the current Poet Laureate of PEI, and I'd love to welcome you to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. Eastlink Community TV is devoted to celebrating the rich history of the First Nations people on Epekwitk. In the coming weeks, and months on this program, we will be celebrating our culture and speaking to people making a difference in our communities. Now I will let my co-host introduce himself.
Right. Indeluisi Gipu Makiunu. Hello, everybody. Upjalasi, and welcome. We are so very privileged and honored to have the most amazing, beautiful, and just the most kind soul you ever meet in Patricia Bourque. She has been a huge mentor and inspiration in my life growing up for many years, and I call her a dear friend to mine, and we both love her very dearly. Now, we have a couple questions for you, Patricia, and we really look forward to your answers and explaining kind of the process and the journey that you have taken place so far. So our first question is, what motivates you to take photos?
Gwe, Alan, for having me here. I feel very honored. What motivates me to take pictures? I think it's the energy, the emotion, the feeling of moments in life that I come across. I'm not one to pose people, but I am one that likes to capture real life moments and the emotion, capture those memories and be able to share them with others who've missed it, or be able to remind myself of that moment in time. That's really what motivates me.
Patricia, what has been one of your favorite picture captures that you've gotten in the last little bit? I know with COVID, things have been pretty difficult in trying to find that perfect place or that perfect framed image, but what's been your favorite?
Oh my goodness. I try to think about that. People have asked me that, and it's really hard to just pinpoint one, whether it was taking live basketball shots, being right under the net, or when Gipu comes close enough to allow me to photograph him, or when Woquist walks up to me, probably even too close for my lens to focus on. I think the moment that stands out for me, I came across a family of Woquist, of red fox, and all the kits were running around, and I was trying to stay distant, but they kept coming closer to me to the point they were running around me, and I started panicking. But the mother fox, she starts walking away, and I'm like, Woquist, and she just looks back at me and just gives me a grunt and walks away and leaves me with her babies, and I'm like, I think I'm babysitting. And it was one of the moments in life that it really stood out to me that what a privilege, what an honor. I'm like, I'll stay with the babies. Thanks.
So, Patricia, you've recently, over the last little bit, I think I might have seen some amazing achievements and accomplishments in some of your photos being taken place with National Geography. Now, can you tell me about that a little bit?
Oh, so where do I begin? Social media is a funny place. It's a funny little world, and you put images out to share with the world, or I don't know, you try, you just share to maybe brighten up somebody's day. Well, I've been in communication with it's the Canadian Geographic, and they have, I believe, I don't exactly understand the structure of the organization, this magazine, but it's more for the Indigenous voices. So they reached out to me and they wanted to use one of my images, and it wasn't just, how do I put that? It was actual professional gig. It was a full page for one of the monthly subscriptions for the Canadian, for the Indigenous issue. And so I showed them the image that I had of Wyona Bernard. And then, so we ended up using that image for the full page and a little write-up. And we ended up writing about her grandmother, who happened to be the first chief for Epekwitk First Nation, but she was also, I think, the only woman chief of Epekwitk First Nation. And so it was sort of like a little honor to her as a residential school survivor, as a basket maker, as the chief. And it was really nice to use that, and it was such an honor to be able to do that for a chief, for an elder, for a survivor, and it was very cool. It is probably one of the greatest honors that I've had. I've been in Canadian Geographic twice before, but it wasn't as a professional, and so this sort of, I don't know, that's a pretty big goal, and it was a pretty big accomplishment for me. So I really, I don't know what else to say about that. It was just so exciting.
I was so very proud when I got to see your work showcased, and I know it wasn't the first time, which is amazing. So being able to know that someone in our community, somebody who is our relative, has sort of gone to the top and been able to showcase her skill and talent on a national stage, that it filled me with such pride, and I can't even imagine what it felt like having that opportunity. So just let us know that we were very, very proud of you. And I'm sure once you heard that this was even just getting started, how that made you feel.
It takes so long from this time they communicate with you to the time that it's actually published. So sometimes you forget. So it all gets taken care of, but then months later they email me saying, did you send in the invoice? And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that part. I was just so excited that it published, and then you forget about everything else because it's the actual moments. You forget about all that. So.
And now we're going to take a short break here, but please be sure to keep watching Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. I am Julie Pellissier-Lush with my wonderful co-host Richard and my amazing guest Patricia Bourque. Now we are on to our second question. Now, how do you connect to your culture with your art?
Oh, that's a big question. As you both know, I was adopted out. So I met my family. I was around 24 years old. And since that time, I've been so blessed with the teachings and throughout my journey, and the knowledge, and being able to do ceremony, and to be able to, I don't know, have the teachings of elders. I've been so blessed that way. And so I've naturally, when I started doing photography, that was always important. Those teachings always came forward with that, because when you are in nature, when you're with the wildlife, especially Gipu. There's just certain things. So I always carry that through with me, even when I'm doing wildlife. And then when I did portraits of our community members, especially in full regalia, I always felt very protective because this is their regalia, it's very sacred. And I never took that for granted. I always just made sure that I respected their space, their regalia, and themselves. And I also know that some are still not comfortable having their picture taken. So to me, I always kept those teachings when I do this, when I do my photography, whether it's wildlife, nature, if it was with people. There's those teachings that I carry through. So I do hope that that is shown when I show those pictures and share pictures.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I think as we walk down this beautiful road that we've been traveling with you, let's start us back to the beginning. What inspired this beautiful photographer that you've turned into becoming? What started it?
You know, when I was a kid, there was always these little handheld cameras. And back when I was a kid, there was no digital. It was all film. So I'd always play with those cameras. And I always liked looking through the little lens. I don't know what it was about the world in that lens, but I always thought that was the coolest world. It was perfect. And then when I got old enough and I had my license, I would go for drives with whatever camera was around. There was something about finding in my exploration, finding these beautiful places, and I wanted to capture that. Fast forward again, I met my father, Pee Wee. Everybody knows him by Pee Wee, but Linus Peters. And so my first car as an adult, we would go for drives. He loved going for explorations around the island, and we would find beaches, and he would be beach combing. And once again, I would have this time a digital handheld camera, and he encouraged it. He thought I was just, he loved my pictures, and I love creating those memories. And then when he passed away, there was a lot of emptiness in my life. And so I kept going with the car drives. And this time I took the camera, but it was to fill. There's something about, it's very therapeutic for me. The drive, the exploring, the hiking, but it's also something about with the camera. And I think he was so proud of that. He was proud of my pictures. He was proud of what I was doing 13, 15 years ago. So I always think about him on my journeys to how much he would love that. So that's my journey with why I started, and I think why I keep going.
I'm so proud to say that back around, not the beginning, but probably around the middle somewhere, I used to work doing the Indigenous newspaper here on
Yes.
PEI. And I had so much fun working with Patricia and getting pictures for the stories that I would write. And we almost became a tag team partnership doing this. And I'd see her at the powwows and just appreciate the work that she was doing. So I know, what would be your favorite event, Patricia, doing photography? Would it be a session? Would it be like an event? Would it be, like I said, the powwows? What would be your favorite thing to just go and set up for?
Oh. You know, I loved, it was the powwows. I remember when I was working as early childhood in the Epekwitk Head Start. So you had a front row seat, and it was through that I got to know all the dancers, and I got to know the drummers, and you had a up close one-on-one relationship with the traditional teachings. They would make sure I knew the etiquette, and I got to, it was such an honor. And then you get to have that relationship where, you know, I would make eye contact and they would look at me and just kind of like, let me know it's okay, I can take their picture. And so there was that growth, I think, as a photographer, but just as a Mi'kmaq person in the community, at you know, at large. It was acceptance. It was bonding. It was that relationship. It was everything that I needed. But personally, I needed this. And professionally, it taught me that respect that you need to have when you're working in that community. And I try to take those teachings and I try to teach other people, other photographers who are non-Indigenous, who are not Mi'kmaq. So I think it's, I just always try to pass on the teachings that I get, because I need to share that with others.
Well, we will take another very short break here, but be sure to keep watching Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV.
Up Jalasi, welcome back to the Voices of Epekwitk on Eastlink Community TV. I am Richard Lush, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Julie Pellissier-Lush. And we have been delightfully going down this beautiful path with our honored guest, Patricia Bourque. Now, as we continue this wonderful conversation we're having with you, and Walalan, thank you so much for this. Last summer, we got to travel to Hog Island, Badumagek, and we got to participate in such a beautiful little area that had so much grassroots, and our ancestors walked those plains. And I think we all could just understand the magic that was there that day, though it was quite hot. Now, when we were there, I actually asked you a couple of questions for my own little video series that I'm running. Now, one of those questions was, what would your message be to any youth that are looking to get involved in photography? What would you encourage them to do?
The first thing is, don't worry about your camera. Just pick up anything, even your phone. I think the phones now have such amazing capabilities and technology built into them. That's probably my first advice, is just start taking pictures. Everything else will fall into place. You will learn as you go. I'm a doer. I need to learn by doing and by observing. You can read all the rules, but you need to know, you just need to get your hands on the camera, whatever you're doing, and just get out and just start taking pictures. And you will find what you like to do the best. You will find, oh, my cell phone can't do this kind of photography. You just naturally start growing into it. You will start figuring it out as you go. I'm a big believer in speed. I'm self-taught. I've never gone to school for doing this. I've taken little workshops, or, observed. YouTube is great. Even when I have to use a brand new camera, I have to figure it out. YouTube is my go-to. Instead of reading the manual that's that thick, YouTube is my go-to. And just trial and error. Just enjoy it. I think our teachings really help as the base of being respectful to elders, being respectful to your community members, being respectful to Mother Earth, being respectful to the nature that's around you. That's all you need. Everything else will fall into place.
Now, Patricia, I know, on the side, and you have helped me immensely in the past, you've been working with Innovation PEI and helping Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people to secure grants to help them with their creativity and their arts. Now, why do you think having opportunities like this is so important? Because I know that you have helped so many. So maybe there's people out there who might not even know that this opportunity exists to help them out with their creative projects.
Everything in my life, there was never, I always feel like I've been the first to do a lot of things. Whether it's first with programs, first with just trying to do things on my own programs and support services weren't always there for me. The traditional routes never worked for me. I was a single mom, just a lot of different things in my life. I don't fit into the traditional routes that are out there in the province or in the community. So I really had a struggle and trial and error and kind of do it winging it. So now that I've gotten this far along, I really I want to support other people so they don't have to work as hard as I did to figure it all out. Nobody talked about things when I was growing up. So I want to talk. I think sharing your knowledge, sharing your experiences, that helps other people figure it out. And when Innovation PEI started doing the PEI art grants, we call it the OG, I tried doing that and I was successful. It helped me. And then I started doing like as a juror. And I think that is what really changed how I learned so much from it, and I was able to be better at grant writing. I was better to the point that I started applying for Canada Council, more of a national level. And I was successful, the first couple of times. I didn't go for big, I just wanted to learn as I go. So now I find that the province really is trying to open up and help and be supportive. How can we better serve the Mi'kmaq community, the Indigenous community? And I'm like, I don't know all the answers, but I kind of act as that bridge. Like I can bring you into the community and say, these people are amazing artists. How can we help you? And they tell me, and then I come back and say, you know what? This is what we do. Can we change it a little bit to adapt and to accommodate and to work together? And it's fallen into place really nicely. And so I am a big believer. We learn these skills, but it's our responsibility to teach and to share and to pass it on. So I just really want to see other people benefit as much as I have, but not have to struggle as hard as I've had to. And I think that's kind of where I come from with that.
That's so beautifully said. And we're so thankful for all these knowledge and teachings you have provided us. Now, before we conclude here, if I am coming off Facebook, how do I find you? How do I get your services, Patricia? Tell me your hashtags, tell me your website, tell me it all.
My goodness. Well, you can look me up. I still go by my adopted name of Patricia Bourque. And if people know Ray Bourque from Boston Bruins, you will know how to spell Bourque. But if you don't, it's Bourque. So you type Patricia Bourque Photography, you will find my web page, my website. You can find me on Twitter. I'm kind of hanging out on Twitter a lot. Patricia Bourque, Trisha Bourque. Instagram, I kind of have fun there. You can find me there as well. And Facebook, I really am bad at Facebook these days. But you can find me there and I will do my best. My email address is Patricia's Photo Art, PATRICIAS, photoart@gmail.com.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Patricia. This has been such an honor to be able to sit here and share with you and hear your stories. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, Voices of Epekwitk with Eastlink Community TV. Now be sure to tune in again for the next episode of our Community Change Makers. We do not like to say goodbye, but we do say Nemoltes until we meet again. So Walalan and Nemoltes. Thank you and hope to see you soon.
Go Gojo walking now, 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 gojo. Goju walking now, 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 goju.